So key number 4 is decipher the meter. Okay, so oftentimes Shakespeare writes in verse. That means there's a particular structure to the language he's using. Sometimes he writes in prose. That just means he writes in a free form. That is, the words have no meter. They don't have a rhyme scheme. They're just words like you would read in a novel. But when he's writing in iambic pentameter, it's important to be able to just understand and decipher some of that structure so that you understand kind of what he's doing and why that is. And it actually helps you find some clues into what's going on in the passage. So iambic pentameter is the mode that he uses. Okay, and what that means is that there are 5 feet in a line. Okay, pentameter, pent means 5. So there are 5 feet in a line. That means 5 sections in a line. And each of those feet is made up of an iamb, which means 2 syllables. The first syllable is stressed. The second syllable is unstressed. And it goes kind of like this. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. Okay, that's how a line reads. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. The D is the unstressed and the dum is the stressed, right? Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. Now, this is really important because it sort of establishes a rhythm that the production can utilize to kind of affect the audience. And it's a really powerful rhythm. I'm sure you recognize it. It's the rhythm of our own heart. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, dee-dum, dee-dum, okay? And that's one of the reasons audiences respond so well to poetry of that nature, because it mimics a rhythm that we're so familiar with and that we kind of, it's intrinsic in our bodies, in our psyches. The other thing about it is, we think, oh, it's iambic pentameter, that must be weird, that must be strange, but we actually speak in it fairly regularly. I could take a sentence from modern day life, and you might find that it sort of fits in iambic pentameter. I went outside to get some air today. I went outside to get some air today. Okay, that's iambic pentameter. So we already sort of speak in a very similar, it's close to the way we already speak. So even though it sounds fancy, it's kind of built to sound like human speech. It just heightens it just a little bit, okay? So we're going to look at a line and just figure out how to decipher this line. So there are 5 feet, which means there's a total of 10 syllables typically in a line of iambic pentameter. So let's look at the Romeo and Juliet. It's, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks. That's the first line. So we've got an unstressed syllable at the beginning. But soft, dee-dum, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. Okay? And you can divide that up into 5 feet. Okay? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. Okay? And there's 5 feet. And you decipher that and you say, okay, he's speaking in iambic pentameter. And there's usually a reason for that. Okay? Sometimes he's writing in prose and sometimes he's writing in iambic pentameter. You can usually, when he changes back and forth, there's usually a reason that you can kind of guess. Okay, here Romeo is talking to the love of his life, so he heightens things a little bit. He's going to speak in poetry. Okay, the next one, it is the east and Juliet is the sun. Okay, so we have to kind of look at Juliet, because you could say Juliet or Juliet, so it kind of helps you understand how to say the words too. It is the east and Juliet is the sun. Okay, there you have your 5 feet. Now, the other thing that the verse does for us, we talked about, it establishes a rhythm, okay, that we kind of feel as we go through the play. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. But that rhythm, having been established, one of the most exciting things that happens is when Shakespeare sort of breaks that rhythm, and he starts to explore sort of other rhythms and can create a rhythmic sort of counterpoint to that rhythm that's already going. Okay, and then when you do that, you can find a lot of clues as to what's happening, and sometimes that's a really exciting moment. So let's just look at one example of how Shakespeare might break this rhythm, and it's really a great example from Romeo and Juliet, from another scene from Romeo and Juliet. Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, is the first line. Okay, this is when Juliet is waiting for Romeo to come and, do fun stuff with her. They're going to have sex, okay? They're going to have sex. So she's waiting for that. And she says, gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds. But if you look at that, you see that it's not actually the same rhythm. It's not dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. It's da-da, dum-dee-dee-dum, dee-dum, dee-dum, dee-dum. Gallop apace. You wouldn't say gallop apace, ye fiery-footed steeds. She says gallop apace. Okay, and that's a one place where he changes the rhythm. Okay, it's actually called a trochee at the beginning. You don't need to know that, but gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds. And look at what she's talking about. The image she's conjuring is horses, fiery-footed horses. And she's saying, go faster, you fiery-footed steeds. And you can already hear in that rhythm that galloping. Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds. That's the noise of the horses galloping. And then you see that as he kind of breaks that iambic pentameter, he makes a strong statement. She's so impatient that she can't even stay in the rhythm that we're expecting. So she says, gallop apace. And it's really kind of an exciting moment because it breaks the rhythm and gives us a clue as to what Juliet is experiencing. And what she's experiencing is time cannot quite go quickly enough.